Welcome back, everybody. Today we're doing something a little bit different.
Ooh,
We're going to take a deep dive into ancient rituals
interesting.
and how they connect to our modern lives.
Okay.
So we'll be looking at the 7th month of the ancient Israelite calendar, as described in the book of Numbers.
Specifically, chapter 29.
Exactly. Who knew ancient texts could be so relevant to us today?
It really is amazing how these ancient practices,
Yeah.
they offer these timeless insights, into the human experience, even though they're rooted in a specific time and culture.
Okay, so let's get into it.
Sure.
Can you paint a picture for us
Okay.
of what the 7th month was like for the Israelites?
So the 7th month, described in the book of Numbers, was a time of intense ritual observance.
Yeah.
It was filled with festivals and offerings.
What kind of offerings?
Well, chapter 29 outlines very specific instructions for 3 major events.
Okay.
The Feast of Trumpets,
Mm-hmm.
the Day of Atonement,
Yeah.
and the Feast of Tabernacles. Each of these involved a series of offerings:
Like what?
burnt offerings,
Mhm.
sin offerings,
Okay.
grain offerings,
Uh-huh.
and drink offerings.
Wow, that's a lot of offerings.
Yeah, and these offerings were often, animals.
Oh,
They
wow.
were a central part of their religious practice.
The text actually lays out the quantities of animals needed for each offering.
Yes, it's very specific and detailed.
Huh. That's interesting.
I know it might seem strange to us now,
Yeah,
but it shows just how intentional they were about these rituals.
I see.
For example, during the Feast of Tabernacles, which lasted 7 days,
Right.
the number of bullocks offered actually decreased each day.
Really?
Yeah, they would start with 13
13 bullocks.
and then go all the way down to 1.
Whoa, what do you think that decreasing number symbolizes?
That's a great question.
It just feels like there's some deeper meaning there.
Right. Well, one interpretation is that it symbolizes a gradual shift from outward actions to inward reflection over the course of the festival.
Oh, I like that.
You start with a big display of sacrifice and then slowly move toward a more introspective state.
So interesting.
Yeah.
It makes me think about how we approach personal growth today.
How so?
We often start with those big outward actions,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes we forget about the quiet reflection, the introspection.
You're absolutely right. It's a good reminder that true transformation
Yeah.
involves
Same.
both
Yeah.
external action and internal work.
That makes a lot of sense.
And this idea of cyclical renewal,
Yeah.
it's further emphasized by the solemn assembly on the 8th day,
Okay.
which marks a completion of the cycle and a return to a state of balance.
Wow.
Yeah, that cyclical nature is something we see everywhere, even today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, think about the changing seasons or the
Mm.
cycles of the moon.
Yeah.
Even our own personal journeys of growth and renewal.
It's true.
It's like this ancient ritual was tapping into
Yeah.
a fundamental truth.
About the human experience.
Exactly.
But how do those specific offerings connect to modern life?
Okay.
We're not out here sacrificing bullocks anymore.
Yeah, no, of course not.
Right.
But the principles behind those offerings,
Yeah.
they can still be incredibly relevant.
Got it.
Take the burnt offering, for example.
Okay.
It was seen as a symbol of complete surrender and devotion.
So how would we apply that today?
Uh-huh.
What does surrender even look like in a modern context?
I think it could be about surrendering our ego,
Okay.
surrendering our need to control everything,
Okay.
and instead embracing humility and trust in something greater than ourselves,
Oh,
whatever that may be.
I see. Yeah, that makes me think about letting go of attachments.
Yeah,
Like accepting what is rather than resisting.
exactly.
Okay, cool.
And the sin offering,
Yeah,
which was meant to atone for wrongdoing,
right.
that can be seen as a parallel to our modern practices of
Okay.
self-reflection,
Yeah.
forgiveness,
Mm-hmm.
and making amends.
So it's like acknowledging our mistakes,
Yeah,
taking responsibility, and then actually trying to make things right.
exactly.
I like it.
And then there's the grain offerings.
Yeah, the grain offerings.
Which were often made from the first fruits of the harvest. So
Okay.
that connects to gratitude and appreciation.
Yeah, recognizing those blessings,
Yeah,
big and small.
exactly.
Awesome.
And that brings us to another key aspect of the 7th month, the Feast of Tabernacles.
Yes, that's the one where they lived in those temporary shelters
Yeah.
for 7 days.
For 7 days.
Why was that so important?
Well, it was a celebration of God's provision and protection
Okay.
during their journey through the wilderness.
Interesting.
Living in those temporary dwellings reminded them that they relied on something greater than themselves.
So how would we apply that to our lives today?
Well, maybe it's a call to step outside of our comfort zones,
Okay.
To embrace simplicity.
Yeah.
And remember that our true security
Yeah.
doesn't come from material possessions. It comes from something deeper.
I like that. And that community aspect was a big part of those festivals too,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
The gathering,
The shared meals,
the rituals.
all of it designed to bring people together,
Yeah.
strengthen their bonds, and create a sense of unity and belonging.
That resonates with me so much.
Yeah.
You know, especially in today's world where we're often isolated and disconnected.
Yeah. So easy to feel that way.
I think it's more important than ever to cultivate meaningful connections
Absolutely.
and participate in those shared experiences that bring us together,
I agree.
whether it's through religious gatherings or community events
Right.
or just spending time with loved ones.
Yeah, exactly.
That connection is vital for our well-being.
For sure.
It's amazing.
That is how
These ancient rituals,
Yeah.
which might seem so foreign to us at first, actually tap into these universal human needs.
Like what?
The need for connection,
Yeah.
for meaning, purpose,
Yeah.
for something greater than ourselves.
It's incredible.
It really is.
And that's what makes them so timeless and relevant,
Right.
even thousands of years later.
Totally.
They offer a framework for understanding ourselves and our place in the world. They really do, you know?
It's pretty remarkable how much we can learn from these traditions.
It is.
I'm already thinking about how I can incorporate some of these ideas into my life.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's what's so cool about it.
It's not about like replicating these rituals exactly.
Right?
It's about understanding the core principles.
Yeah.
And finding ways to express them in our own way.
You know what I find interesting?
What's that?
It's the emphasis on intentionality.
Oh, yeah.
In these ancient practices,
Yes, every detail.
every little thing.
From the type of offering to the specific quantity.
Yeah, it was all so carefully considered.
They weren't just going through the motions.
Right.
It was about imbuing each action with meaning.
And purpose.
Exactly. And that's a powerful lesson for us, I think.
No, absolutely.
Especially today, in our busy world.
In our go world.
It's so easy to lose sight of that intentionality.
That is.
We rush from one thing to the next.
Yeah, we did.
Without stopping to think
Without taking a breath.
about why we're doing what we're doing.
Exactly.
But imagine if we could bring that same intentionality to our everyday lives.
Wow. Yeah, that would be.
If we approached our work, our relationships,
Yeah.
even our leisure time,
Even just relaxing.
with that sense of mindfulness and purpose.
It would be transformative.
I think so too.
Slowing down, being present,
Being in the moment.
asking ourselves those questions. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
What is the meaning behind this action?
And what if we don't have the answers right away?
That's okay.
Just asking the question is a good first step.
It is. It helps us make more conscious choices,
Yeah.
connect with our values, live more authentically.
So maybe the most valuable offering we can make
Yeah.
in our modern
Now,
lives,
what is it?
it's the offering of our attention,
That's
our
it.
presence,
Yeah.
our conscious awareness
Yeah.
to each and every moment.
I love that.
I think that's a perfect note to end on.
It is.
This has been such a rich and thought-provoking deep dive.
It has.
I want to thank you
Of course.
and all of our listeners for joining us on this journey of exploration.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time, everyone,
Yes.
keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.